I'm always on this side. And welcome back to the Gay Racing Podcast. Hello. Zach and not Alex are here. It's
right.
Avery
I'm not
Gage.
Alex. I'm Avery.
Not Alex. I fired him. We are here. Me and Avery, our good friend Avery, resident sports car racing expert.
Maybe not expert, but resident fan, we'll say.
Maybe not resident. You don't live here or anything. Just a guy, Avery Gage. He is here today to talk about the 12 Hours of Sebring, and I alluded to this on our Darlington episode. If you watch that, we normally cover NASCAR and IndyCar here on the Gay Racing Podcast. We also cover IMSA as well, and we're going to have our own little episode for the 12 Hours of Sebring, one of the biggest endurance races, frankly, in the world. It's the birthplace of American endurance racing. It's a really big deal. I've grown to have a lot of respect for the event. It's been falling on my birthday the past few years, which is it's a blessing and a curse because it's like, yay, I have to celebrate my birthday, but I'm too busy celebrating my birthday to actually watch the entire 12 Hours of Sebring, which happened again this weekend. But Avery, first of all, how long have you been following sports car racing and any kind of special thoughts about Sebring?
How long I've been following? That's a great question because I know I've watched older Rolexes back
right.
in, the really ugly turtle looking cars, whatever.
Yes.
Late 2000s.
DPs.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as a consistent watcher, I think it might have been maybe around COVID time.
Oh, well, because what else were we doing?
What else to do? So yeah. And then you mentioned Sebring. Yeah, I just love that it's different than any track they go to. Respect the bumps, right? So
right.
Yeah, never repave her. Do not touch her. Leave her alone. Okay.
I love how they race the same weekend as NASCAR at Darlington because it is like a sports car racing's Darlington in a way. It is such a Darlington was the first super speedway. Sebring was kind of America's first kind of stint into endurance racing. And it's just so cool that the track is this little time capsule that's still here and we're still racing. We're still doing the 12 Hours of Sebring. And it's a great follow-up to the 24 Hours of Daytona, as we'll get into, because Porsche Penske, it's more of the same, but it wasn't as boring. It's half the length, but it's twice the amount of things happen, it seemed like, in this race. Porsche Penske, they go 1-2. Felipe Nasr and Lauren Heinrich, Julian Anlauer piloting the number 7. They had these really cool throwback schemes. I love those.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I had a random Mobile One Porsche diecast at some point. I'm pretty sure that looked like those. But anyway, so they go back to back again because they opened last year winning the first 2 races of the season. They do the same here. And it was a pretty straightforward race. The 6 was leading some stints. They were kind of switching off on the pit cycles, and it came to, I believe it was a caution with 2 hours to go. And we have some team orders coming in, which normally we don't really see in IMSA a lot.
Not a whole lot, but it happens sometimes. But
every now and then, especially for a championship implication or situation, that makes sense to me. But for it being the second race in the year, we the seven comes out in front of the 6. They did not take tires on the stop. And we get team orders that Felipe Nasr needs to let Kevin Estre by, who is in the 6, to I don't know why, actually. That's still what we're trying to figure out, Avery.
I don't know either. I'm my guess is maybe they wanted the 6 in front of the 7 to control the pace somehow, but then it's okay. But my problem is that Nasr dropped back behind the 6, and then he passes Estre on older tires, and then Estre is going to complain about it. I'm you have to just hold the
racing.
L. I'm sorry, hold the L.
That is literally racing. You can't. Again, it's the second race of the season. There's no championship implications. We're not just taking turns over here. That's not what we're doing in big boy sports car racing, right? I in theory, it makes sense. Let the 6 with fresher tires go out first, but for one, it didn't seem tires weren't that big a factor if the 7's just going to pass.
Not when you're Felipe Nasr, apparently.
Not when you're Felipe Nasr. And I think the 6 is always kind of looked at as a little bit of the second team because they just aren't winning the big races.
It's funny you say that because driver wise, I mean, like, there's no weak link, obviously, in the entire team, but like the six, just on paper, has Kevin Estra, Lawrence Vantor,
Right.
and like that in theory is like the number one car, actually.
Yeah,
But
because they gave Nazar two teammates. Lauren Heinrich. He did mostly GT3 racing before this year, correct?
yeah, he was in the Rexy car. And then Julian Anlauer was also he did who he drove the Porsche 963, but it was her Proton in WEC actually.
Right.
But yeah, but the thing is, like Heinrich, he actually was the fastest driver, not only at Daytona, but also at Sebring as well. And I'm looking at the averages the other day, and I'm sure this has happened before, but I haven't seen it in IMSA. It was literally all six Porsche Penske drivers were like 1 through 6 in the averages. Like
Mhm.
anyone, and I'm like, okay, so like if you weren't in a Porsche Penske, you had like literally no shot at all. So
It was kind of a I don't know what to compare it to, but like old, like, late 2010s Formula One, where it's like Mercedes,
yeah,
maybe Max Verstappen, and then it's like everybody else, right?
exactly, yeah.
We'll talk about best of the rest later, but back to Porsche Penske, Felipe Nasr. If you only watch the Rolex 24, you know who Felipe Nasr is because he's
Mhm.
won, well, the last three Rolex 24s
Oh
with
yeah.
the 7 team and Joseph Newgarden, one of the years. Just got to throw that one in there. But yeah, to throw him in with two teammates that don't normally run the whole IMSA schedule uh in that car, yeah, the 6 on paper is a better lineup, but
Mhm.
you put Nazar in that 7, especially for the closing stint.
Oh yeah.
I get the frustration from Estra, especially, you're going to be selfish in that moment, but I mean, the 7 was lights out faster.
Yeah.
Because it got to a point where the 31 Cadillac and I think even one of the BMWs, that 3 wide moment going down into sunset, the 6 was having some trouble fending off for
Oh
second
yeah.
there a little bit.
For sure. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, so it's hard to I I'm curious, and that's kind of my question for you, if this is going to develop over the season, any kind of animosity. I know this isn't NASCAR. I know there's no like drama like that, but it just seems like a crack in the armor of what seems to be a very strong start for Penske Porsche.
Mhm.
Uh, I just wonder if we're going to see the storyline again. What do you think?
Um, Gosh, I honestly don't think so. I think they'll kind of move past this, honestly. Maybe if they like ran into each other on track or there's like some major beef going on, but it was like I don't see. I mean, like maybe you think differently, but I'm like, nah, I think they're good.
Could you imagine if they crashed?
Oh my god.
I was really
Oh boy.
hoping that would happen because Alex turned it off at some point because when he got home, and I told him, "I'll let you know if something happens," because I was like ready. These guys are about to wreck each other, trying to do all this team orders and then passing them
Mm,
back. Man, that would have been so entertaining. Because we've had, between Sebring and Petit Le Mans, I remember so many dramatic finishes, just under the nighttime in the closing laps. But yeah, the team orders, I'm not sure. Hopefully they don't try team orders like that again. Like I think it's only going to create negativity in the team. Like
yeah.
you're just pissing off your drivers because you're trying to give them what they both want, but they both can't have. Uh, Outside of Penske, Porsche though, Cadillac and the number 31 seem to be best of the rest, which is exactly what we were saying after Daytona.
Yeah.
A lot of people were wondering if Cadillac was actually going to finally take it to Porsche this weekend.
Mhm.
They were really strong at the end of the season last year,
Yeah.
right? But they were fast in practice at Sebring. They didn't really, they still didn't really have anything for their race pace though. Um, I think a lot of people were like, okay, but the car's set up for the nighttime. It's kind of like NASCAR's Coke 600. Doesn't matter what you do in the first 9 hours of the race, especially with IMSA and the cautions. More on that later. But we get to the nighttime. The 31 is really competitive, especially on the restarts, especially on the short runs. I mean, they have the fast 1 lap pace.
Yo, for sure. Yeah.
There was that one moment on the restart where they just about went for a move on the 6, and I believe that's when the number 6 of Kevin Estra got a warning for blocking.
Yeah.
Now, normally in IndyCar, they don't even give out warnings for that. They just penalize. I was a little shocked to see a warning for blocking. I
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that. Is that
I mean,
something IMSA normally does?
so here's the thing. Like, I know IMSA has really been kind of cracking down on like aggressive driving, especially after I think it was Road America either last year or 2 years
I think it was
ago.
last
Like,
year.
everyone was getting shoved off the track, and they're like, "All right, like this, we can't have this." But I mean, I'm sure they've gotten warnings before. I'm sure people who think that the sport is biased against or towards Penske for some reason will be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, of course they got a penalty." Or
See, it doesn't look good.
exactly, and I'm like,
It just wasn't a good, especially when they're already so dominant. I'm just like, come on, throw us a bone. Like
yeah,
Penske's still gonna win the race anyway. Like I'm half joking, but come on, just penalize them. Like send them to the back.
yeah.
Uh, we saw another car in GTD come back from penalties, which we'll get to in a bit. But I want to transition to GTD Pro
Mhm.
because Manti is a really cool story to follow through the IMSA season.
Oh yeah.
That awesome Grello livery, which I was only introduced to this year through IMSA. And then I was just like randomly watching some Nurburgring like on boards. I'm like, oh, that's Grello right there. And add some of the Porsche factory drivers in it. So Manti's first win in their first IMSA endurance season. And I think people were expecting this. This is like a really big team. They compete at the 24 hours of Nurburgring. The number 911 of Thomas Prenning, Klaus Bachler, and Ricardo Feller held off AO Racing, Roxy. It was this weekend, the pink dinosaur. Great, obviously great weekend for Porsche. They weren't really that fast at Daytona, even though Manti was somewhat competitive.
Mm.
But Porsche big winners, kind of leaving Sebring. Corvette was still fast too. And then there's Ford, which I don't know what's going on with the Mustang this year. The brand new Evo kit, they're just not very competitive.
Yeah, I was looking at the averages, and it took a while for me to find a Ford driver. I'll tell you.
Yeah, we're struggling. Like they were talking about it on TV, but I didn't really understand what they were talking about. They were talking because um they were trying to make this new Evo kit on the Mustang a lot more aero efficient, but
Mm,
something with the way either IMSA or in general do BOP, it's kind of aero efficiency was the word I heard.
okay.
I couldn't look up what exactly it meant. I think because Ford tried, they spent money and they made their Mustang uh very good aerodynamically.
Mhm.
They can test that in the wind tunnel and then penalize them on the BOP depending on how good it is. So they made their car too good with aerodynamics. It seems like.
Yes, you can tell yourself that. I'm just kidding. You're probably right, but
Well, that's because it
yeah.
seems like the BOP, which BOP is a big topic in IMSA, balance of performance. If you don't know,
Mm,
for any non-sports car people, it's trying to balance out all these different cars with all these different engine placements and engines. I mean, different engines and all that.
oh yeah.
Uh, But it's also to note though that Porsche also had an Evo kit on their GT3R,
Mhm.
and they're doing fine. They're
Yeah.
doing great. They just won.
Very, very definitely.
So sometimes you hit it, sometimes you hit it, and sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides that, nothing else to note of GTD Pros. Just besides Porsche just winning, a lot of the same players. BMW number one also had a really good showing.
Yeah.
GTD was entertaining. I think listen, if you like NASCAR and you don't watch sports car racing, the GTD battles are some of the best battles you will see, especially when you have Antonio Fuoco in the field
Mhm.
cuz he tried his damnedest not to win the race.
Oh, he did.
Like he got 3 drive-through penalties. His last one was, I mean, it was dark, so it's in the last 2 hours of the race. He spun the number 33, one of the I don't that was it was a GTD Pro car, I believe, because it had a red tag on it. And he got a drive through, has to come all the way back through and get the track position back. Last lap pass
Mhm.
on the number 27, I believe it was the Aston Martin, was the
That's right.
Heart of
Yep.
Racing.
Yep.
Yep. And wins the race. Like one of those classic, no matter, and this is just the beautiful thing about IMSA, right? Like
Mhm.
you can have a stinker and GTP in the top class, but then it's like the LMP2s and the GTDs are having World War III over the win in the lower classes. It's just awesome. But definitely the highlight for the race.
And can I just say, and I know this has been talked about ad nauseum, but it just speaks to like the level of like the quality of the field in IMSA. Like this is the lowest class, and it came down to two guys who race in hypercar in WEC for Aston Martin, Tom Gamble, and Fuoco
Mhm.
Ferrari, and it's like that's just awesome, right? Like
That is so cool.
so.
Yeah, and especially, like, it brings some respect to the GTD class because it
Mhm.
kind of makes me think, you see that it's got amateur drivers in it, but it's not just amateur drivers, it's
Oh no,
pros and
yeah,
amateurs, and
exactly.
especially the last stint of the race, they put their big guys in there, and
Honestly, some of the lineups are like there's not a single amateur in the car. Like I know it says that on paper, but like you don't have to have a bronze driver. You can put like a silver that's like really good. So
oh, right, silver,
some of
yeah.
these lineups in GTD, I'm like, this is a GTD Pro lineup. It just is, honestly. So
Yeah, I guess that's why they don't call it a AM, they just call it GTD because
yeah,
it's
exactly.
silver or whatever. um, they talked about somebody, I forgot who it was, a sneaky silver, it might have been. Wasn't there a new guy in the 77? His last name was King,
Oh
because he
yeah,
finished out
Harry
the
King.
race.
Yeah, Harry King. Yeah, I don't know if he's a silver. I think he's a gold actually.
Right.
But yeah, he's very quick, very quick.
Yeah, because he's like, that was his, like, first time at Sebring? Unless
It
you're talking about somebody else.
I might have been. I don't think I've seen him at Sebring before. So
Yeah, because TV was talking about, like, it's his first time at Sebring, and AO Racing put him in to try to win the race, so it was, like, a big deal, so,
yeah,
I thought that was a cool story.
yeah, he can fly. He's good.
Yeah. I think that covers all of the GTD stuff. Again, just great racing. LMP2. The only thing I wrote down is that Alex's boyfriends won. Mikkel Jensen and Hunter Macalera. I can't say his name. Macalera. It's fun. So yeah, Alex's boyfriends won. Congrats to Alex. Yeah, that's what I have to say about LMP2. Um, and apparently the one guy that took out the Corvette was not a dentist. The
Yeah,
number 81 Corvette that got literally just shoved off the track, it was not by a dentist. It was by Parker Thompson, who apparently knows better, according to Avery.
yeah. Well, he should. And now Parker is actually a silver. He's a very good silver. He actually going to race in WEC in the LMGT3 for Team WRT for BMW this year.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I honestly like when I saw that happen, I was getting ready to post on Blue Sky like these effing dentists and like
These dentists,
yeah.
the teeth
And I
emoji.
look it up and I'm like, oh shoot, that's Parker Thompson in the car. Oh God. And I saw on Sports Car 365, I think Parker apologized, but then like the team owner shot back on I think Twitter and was like, apology not accepted. Like you cost us $200,000 in parts damage. Like you're basically a
That's fair.
dumbass. I'm like, oh dude, Parker, like you screwed up so badly. And he did. So, but
That is
it happens though. So
that is fair. Those cars look expensive, and it's a shocking. The 81 did get back on track at
mm,
some point. I don't remember how many hours later, but I remember TV pointed it out, and I was just like, huh. Really? You can do a lot in that IMSA garage. If you need to rebuild your car, go ahead. It looked pretty good too. Like it didn't look like it went through what it did. Uh, but yeah, I think that covers most of everything that happened at Sebring. Despite, I feel like we didn't bring up everything that happened. I mean, there was a bunch of yellows and stuff. Some for debris, some for literally tires falling off. But
yeah.
just another classic IMSA race. Next one's at Long Beach, which we'll talk about their schedule in a little bit. Because I have some questions for Avery because we mentioned BOP a little bit,
Mhm.
and a lot of people are wondering if IMSA kind of needs to change their BOP because Porsche Penske, they've won Daytona 3 years in a row. They've opened now the past 2 seasons
Mhm.
with back-to-back wins in both the Florida races. People are wondering, what is going on with the BOP? How is Porsche still so dominant? And I think that's fair to bring up.
Yeah.
But if you look back to last season, Porsche they won the championship, but they didn't continue their dominance all the way through the season. Cadillac caught up to them at
Mhm.
some point. So I don't know. Do you have any like strong opinions on BOP?
Um, Other than I think it absolutely should stay because it's a necessary evil,
Yes.
not necessarily. And the thing is, like for Sebring, I don't have like the numbers in front of me right now, but I swear, like Porsche did take a BOP hit at Sebring.
Right.
So I'm thinking like, oh, maybe they won't be as dominant. Maybe like somebody else will win and be better. But they led 80% of the laps and crushed everyone. So it's like, what more? Like, what do you want them to do? Like, here's give them 500 extra pounds of weight or ballast, or
Right.
by like 50 horsepower. It's like so. you can only do so much, honestly, and just say, you know what, just we try to balance them as much as you can, and like if someone's dominant, then like my hat's off to them. Like it's just
Right. Because it's Team Penske as well. Like it's obviously, Porsche factory people as well, but
yeah.
that race team knows how to go win races.
Oh, they do.
They
A lot.
do, obviously, but like they're going to you can't BOP the human element of it.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And people also point out, the JDC Miller customer Porsche that runs in GTP as well, they're not going out and finishing on the podium. So is it really the Porsche or is it just the team? And I think that's kind of fair, right?
Mhm,
And Cadillac, especially, at Daytona, kind of in the late hours at Daytona, they're not that far off. The
mhm.
Cadillac did finish second at
Yeah,
Daytona. It beat one of the Penske's, so they damn well almost finished second at Sebring. So it's not going to last all season. We saw it last season. Porsche, they fell off a little bit at the end. Cadillac caught up. They won races, especially the 31 squad. So we'll have to see how this develops. They go to Long Beach next. But before we talk about IMSA more, you have mentioned WEC, the World Endurance Championship. They come back soon. Their season debut is April 19th. I
mhm.
believe they were supposed to start at Qatar, but that got canceled because of reasons.
Little stuff,
As
yeah.
we mentioned, we mentioned the other week about F1. Those races also got canceled because of reasons. So they start April 19th at Imola.
Yeah.
Monza's like under renovations, I think, right?
I
Like,
so here's the thing, like I don't know if they've always started at okay, wait. They have raced at Monza before, but
right.
Monza wasn't on the schedule last year either.
No.
So I wouldn't expect them to race there, is what I'm saying. So
No, yeah, because Reddit, I remember seeing on Reddit that like Monza's like they're under renovations or something, even though Formula One can still race there this year. And
interesting.
that's why WEC's been going to Imola. Either way, it's not really a good multi-class track if you ask me.
Yeah,
Like Monza's just the Italian track to me. So I don't
yeah,
really
yeah.
either way, I'm just complaining. But they start April 19th. Should I watch WEC? What's the number one reason I should watch WEC, if any?
Great question. Because and I know I'm biased, and maybe it's just the American in me, I don't know, but I think IMSA's a better sport than WEC, honestly. Here's okay. If you don't like the IMSA yellows and you don't want the field to be, yes,
Me?
watch WEC because there's going to be races where it's going to be 6 hours, 8 hours, and the entire race is going to run under green, and the fastest car is going to win. So if you like the purity aspect of it, then watch WEC. But for the racing, IMSA's better, in my
IMSA is
opinion.
better.
It is better. I'm sorry. So
And I do kind of hate the IMSA yellows, even though they do kind of bring the good racing. Maybe it's that NASCAR side of me. I
yeah,
know Alex hates the yellows because every time he tries to watch IMSA, he catches it right in the middle of a 30-minute yellow.
yeah,
And I do feel like, and this is kind of a question I have for you, should IMSA try to adopt some kind of code 60? That's what WEC has or Le Mans has,
mhm.
and or some kind of virtual safety car, because I think for especially like what I think the last caution at Sebring came out because the 912 GTD Porsche was like they were parked off the track, but then they pulled off the track. It's like I feel like that could just be a virtual safety car.
Yeah. I thought about this before the podcast, and I was like, please, for the love of God, just have a virtual safety car. It shouldn't be. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure someone will reply to this post about this podcast and be like, actually, they can't do that because of blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
No,
But
we have the technology. Like,
I
come on. You mean these multi-thousand-dollar cars don't have the technology to do that? Come on.
oh
Get
yeah, they absolutely do. So I don't know why. And maybe just the NASCAR ownership of it. I don't know. But the thing is,
it's
like,
like NASCAR DNA almost.
it could be. And the only thing I was thinking of is like, okay, because if we have a scenario where there has to be a like an actual full course yellow, in that case, I genuinely don't know how to make them shorter unless you would be okay with just removing the part where they do the class split and just go green after pit stops. Other than that, like it's gonna take a while, dude. Like you got to open the pit road for this class and the other classes, and it's like that's just gonna take a while. Okay, so those I have no idea how to make those shorter, but we can have less of them by doing virtual safety cars.
Yeah,
So,
100%. Because if you don't split the classes, I feel like you're just gonna there's just gonna be wrecks. You're just gonna
Yeah.
have more wrecks and restarts. That just sounds really dangerous to me.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
I've always like sit on the NASCAR side. Like I feel like sometimes we should have cautions where you don't even open pit road. Like if you need to pick up a piece of debris, then do you really need to have a whole pit stop cycle for that? Like, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
I don't know. Whatever to do to make caution shorter. And I say that on the NASCAR side, and we race at like 1 mile oval tracks. It's a magnified problem at these really large road courses like Sebring, Road America. So I think it's the number one issue with IMSA at the moment, but the side effect that it brings is great racing sometimes. So I don't know if it's an issue that IMSA officials and IMSA leadership are any rush to fix, but it's a lot of people's number one issue with it. So we'll be following that. Uh and I probably still won't watch WEC this year. It's just hard to watch. Like the
Fair. They're on early in the morning too. It's like 6 a.m., so good luck with that.
Yeah, and I like American tracks more. I think IMSA races at better tracks. They
That's
just
fair.
do. I mean, if I think of like the best, the best racetracks in the world for WEC to race on, like yeah, we got Spa, Le Mans, obviously, Interlagos is great, Coda, Fuji, great, but then it's like I don't know, Bahrain,
Yeah,
Qatar,
yeah.
Imola, really? Like are these really the best we can do? Bahrain's great actually. I like Bahrain, but it just doesn't really, shout to me as the world's best racetracks. So, speaking of schedules, IMSA's schedule came out for 2027, and I would read it off to you, but nothing really changed for the WeatherTech side, at least.
Mhm.
The main series, nothing majorly changed. What do you think about that? Because I like, there's plenty of tracks I would love to see IMSA go to, especially the WeatherTech series, like
Mhm.
Coda. I think Coda is a really cool track. I think having WEC goes there, and I think they put on a great race. But it kind of goes against IMSA's camping culture. Coda's like this really nice F1 facility. IMSA's camping culture doesn't really fit into it. Are there any tracks that you feel like IMSA really needs to go to, or are you kind of fine with this stagnant schedule?
Mm. I'm sure I have some I can think of. I just can't off the top of my head right now. So I am I good with the I don't know. I've
I
heard from
miss Montreal. They used to Grand
oh,
Am
you
used to
know
go
what? That's a
there.
good one. Yeah.
But so LMP2 and the GT classes, they race at Mosport, which a lot of people love Mosport, and I get why. Canadian Tire
Mhm.
Motorsport Park.
Yeah.
I love that track, but I don't love it more than Montreal. But that's just me as a kid watching the nationwide series there and Formula One games and stuff. So
I heard, and I believe it was John Doonan who said this. I was watching a video from Off in the S's about the schedule not changes, I guess. And apparently, I think it was John, said that if you want to add something, you have to take something away as far as the track goes. And I'm like, but why though? Like, I don't.
we saw that when they added the Road America 6 hour this year and they took
Mhm.
away the Indianapolis 6 hour. And when they said that at the time, I was kind of sitting here like, why?
Yeah.
Like I get cost and budgeting,
Yeah.
but I don't. I
It's probably
actually
that.
don't.
It must be that, honestly. Something that we're not privy to that they know more about.
I
So,
mean, it makes sense, especially like you're trying to I don't know, especially like engines and you're trying to like schedule however many engines to run, however many, I don't know. I'm gay, but I don't really see what the big issue is because IMSA's schedule is already very spread out, which it should be. We run endurance races, but we also run like a little 90-minute race at Long Beach in a month. So it's like, is it really that necessary?
mhm.
Like, could we get rid of Detroit actually? I not I love the fact they race in Detroit until they actually get on the track.
Yeah. Look goofy.
Like Belle Isle was so much better. Um but yeah, like I would love Coda, love to go back to Montreal. The Michelin Pilot Challenge will headline a weekend in Lime Rock Park, so more Northeast racing for them. That's great. That's awesome. But uh, besides that, like I think some people have you found the Long Beach or Detroit races to be kind of awkward on the schedule because they make sense to me from a marketing perspective.
Mhm.
Like especially like all the dentists that want to drive GT cars at Long Beach, like the California people of money, they can
Mhm.
go drive at Long Beach. That's great. And then Chevy and Ford get their little, promotion at Detroit. So that's great. But I think some people find them kind of awkward places on the schedule. This type of racing, does it really belong on the streets? Probably not. But I've always found it cool, especially the Long Beach weekend with IndyCar. Um,
Yeah, I have no problem with it at all, honestly. I
yeah.
mean, it's great to me, so.
I think IMSA and IndyCar, any other combination weekends they could try to pull off would probably be good for both sports.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Besides the fact that the garage would probably be very busy, and that's probably why they don't do it more.
Yeah, that's true.
In
That's true.
IMSA garage as it is, they already have their own support
Oh,
series.
yeah.
So they already have their own support series, so it gets busy enough. Um, I believe my last question. So, developing story: Max Verstappen is making an attempt at the 24 Hours of Nurburgring in May.
Mhm.
He, I believe, there's a whole series of like Nurburgring endurance races that goes on. You might know more about that than I do. He was in the car over the weekend. My question to you: have you been following it, by the way?
Yeah, I did watch the race, that he was part of, but I don't know a whole bunch about the Nurburgring Endurance Series that you are referring.
Right. Yeah, because I'm just wondering if Verstappen is about to get humbled or not, because it's like, yeah, you're really good at this on iRacing, but like these are the best of the best that do this at the hardest track in the world.
I mean, I don't know about that. Like, I saw him in that Mercedes AMG, and that guy, he can fly, dude.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
he's
Like,
looking good.
he had a battle with, Christopher Haase in an Audi, and Haase's amazing at the Nurburgring,
Mhm.
and he did pass him, Verstappen, but Verstappen just, like, he looks so calm behind the wheel and just, like, biding his time, and I'm just like,
Like comfortable.
"Yeah, comfortable," and
Yeah,
he just yeah, I mean, I see your point though, like, Kevin Estra, Calvin Vanderlinde, like, can those guys humble him, right? And I'm sure he's gonna get past things like that, but, like,
right.
oh boy, like that oh, he's very fast.
Like he's probably not going to go out and win,
I think they have a very good shot. That lineup,
really,
dude, is absurd. They've got, like, AMG factory
because
drivers.
he's got some stacked teammates with him too. So,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, they're the I don't know if they're the favorite, but they're definitely one of them for sure.
really.
Yeah.
I might have to keep an eye on it, because which is great for GT racing and sports car racing, because I think Max Verstappen is going to bring a lot of those F1 fans
Mhm.
to putting their eyes on the Nurburgring 24. Um I think that's cool. I think especially especially with F1 having their weird regulations set this year, I think this could be like sports car racing is already in kind of a golden era,
Mhm.
but Max Verstappen actually giving GT racing a fair shot might even bring more eyes over to it. As this is what real racing is. This is, we ain't messing with all these batteries and stuff and
Nope.
recharging and deployment. This is just good, pure racing. And I think that's really cool. I'll have to give it a watch. But is there anything else with sports car racing that I or anyone else should be paying attention to?
Ooh, good question.
Anything that's been on your mind? There's stuff that's on my mind, but it's mostly iRacing related.
You know what? Speaking of iRacing, how are you on Sebring and iRacing? I'm curious.
I So Sebring was on the schedule, like it's on the schedule this week.
Mhm,
It was on the schedule during like my winter break, and I did a lot of racing there. It was a lot of
mhm.
fun. There's in Sunset, one of my markers for when to get back on the throttle is right after a big bump, and it's like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. Turn one's really hard to get right and be consistent at. So I'm not bad. I know the track well. And then I went to a race last night and it was wet,
Okay.
and I drive the Mustang and I spun a few times. Yep.
Oh,
It was
I know.
so I'm all right. It's a
Okay.
fun track, one of my favorite tracks to drive, even though um it was one of the few tracks that I didn't drive. I never drove until I drove it on iRacing.
Mhm,
Surprisingly, it was just wasn't in a lot of games I had growing up. But it's a track that once you learn it, the flow is just it's there. It's fun. It's great. It's like it's hard to pass, but there's plenty of places to pass at the same time.
mhm.
Um, just gives me a lot of respect for it. Kind of the same with Le Mans. Like I never drove Le Mans until I drove it on iRacing, and then the more laps I put around it, the more races I did there, I was like, oh, this is cool. I
Mhm.
see why they've been doing this for a long time. That's me with Le Mans Sebring. It's like you don't get it until you see it or you
Oh,
drive it
absolutely, yeah.
yourself. It's so cool. But we need to get you on iRacing. I feel like you would enjoy it.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I've had only one experience with iRacing, and it was at the Indy 500. They had these little like, you know,
Yeah.
things set up or whatever where you can run 2 laps on IndyCar around Indianapolis. And I just okay, here's the thing. I know that it's wide open, obviously, around the track. And so I'm thinking, like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I've played video games before. I get this. And go into turn one, just full throttle, and the thing just pushes up and crashes right into the wall. I'm like, oh, okay. And the second lap, I made the lap, but I was like a second off of the fastest time, which is slow, yes. But also, I'm like, my first time playing the game, I'm like, I don't think there was that it could have been way worse. So
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this to you when I did it, and you were like, "Oh, like it must be really hot on the track," and I'm like, "I didn't think about the tire temperature." So yeah, I think I've had more of a like practice. I would probably be decent at it, but
Yeah. You would enjoy it because, like, if you're an IMSA fan, because iRacing does such a good job with IMSA, it's kind of the most popular thing on the service right now. I've transitioned from doing oval racing, and this is honestly why I like sports car racing in real life because of iRacing. Um, the oval side of iRacing just kind of sucks. The races are filled with yellows and cautions, which is funny considering the real IMSA races are like that.
oh yeah,
But in iRacing, there are no cautions on road races. It's great. You just get to mind your business and race for the most part.
yeah.
And I do multi-class, so that's not necessarily always true, but it's just such a great time. They have most of the IMSA cars. I think they're missing the Lexus and they don't have the Aston Martin, obviously. And now the updated like Lamborghini, the new Lamborghini, they don't have and stuff. But that's just little things. But they have all of the IMSA tracks on the schedule. They have also all of the other really big road courses in the world. They're adding more. They were at like the Miami Autodrome on the schedule the other week. So it's just a lot of fun if you want more IMSA, but not just like watching old races and you want to actually kind of get into it yourself. I definitely recommend it. It's worth the heavy price tag. It really is. So yeah, and it got me to love sports car racing more. But
Oh yeah.
besides that, we're going to conclude our little Sebring IMSA episode. Patreon members, thank you guys for joining the discussion. I don't think I had any Patreon comments to add today, but for our regular NASCAR and IndyCar episodes, please join our Patreon. $2 a month tier can leave comments for on the races for every episode. It's so much easier when Alex does this, and I just have to sit there and listen. Now I have to do it. I should have just edited Alex reading it from another episode. Gosh. And then $5 a month tier subscribers can get bonus videos early, including some of our latest episodes that we've been recording on Sunday night, and they get that early. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave 5 stars on podcast platforms to help us grow. Follow us on all the socials at Gay Racing Pod. Alex is at Newgaden. I am at Zack Racing. And then Avery, you are, well,
I am at Avery Hage, ABERYHAGE.
oh, you've been practicing that, huh? All right. Are you going to any races this year?
Am I going to any races? No, not that I plan.
No.
No.
I don't have any plans either. I need to go to an IMSA race, damn it. VIR is only 3 hours away from me.
Go.
But I know.
Mhm.
It kind of sucks. It's the week after Richmond, like NASCAR.
Okay.
So it's like,
Okay. That's fair.
baby, I can going to the grocery store is enough for me. I hate leaving my house. Like,
Yep.
all right. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much, Avery, for joining us to talk about IMSA today. Bye bye.
Bye.